We do have a resolution an ongoing discussion about the ownership of Hulu this morning. Of course, our parent company, Comcast, owns 33% of Hulu and has entered into a deal with Disney that will eventually mean it sells that 33% stake. But no time soon. In fact, the two companies calling it an agreement on Hulu's future governance and ownership announced a plan by which in 2024, Comcast will be able to sell its 33% stake in Hulu at a floor valuation for Hulu of $27.5 billion. Now, it could be higher, and there will be the opportunity to have so-called appraisal rights that will actually be used to figure out a value for Hulu in that time, which is still, 4.5 years from now. But perhaps even more importantly, from the Disney perspective, it will give the company full operational control of Hulu effective immediately, in return, of course, for this so-called put-call deal that it has entered into with our parent company, Comcast. What does that mean? Well, as our viewers well know, of course, how often we discussed it when it was announced, Disney+, ESPN+, and Hulu all in the Disney universe. But now Disney will have full control of Hulu, will control its customer management, its technology, its data sharing, will be able to basically treat it as another full Disney property. With a 33% owner in Comcast, prior to this deal, there had been concern on the Disney side that it simply would not be able to do all the things it might want to do in terms of, well, one customer sign-on for all the services, discounts if you own all three, and any number of other things that now Disney is immediately freed up to pursue as it, of course, pursues that very important direct-to-consumer strategy. For NBC Universal and Comcast, the deal establishes a floor of $27.5 billion on Hulu, hence the 33% and what that would be worth 5 years from now. Now, it also does allow for Comcast not to contribute during capital calls in the period from now until 2024. Comcast can do that. Of course, Hulu still needs money, but it doesn't have to. And if, in fact, it chooses not to participate in these capital calls, it can be diluted down to a 21% stake over the next 4.5 years. That's as low as it could go, meaning its stake still would be worth some $5.8 billion at that time. There is also a content licensing agreement between NBC Universal and Hulu that will continue. 1 year hence, however, NBC Universal will have the right to take its programming and use it as well on its own direct-to-consumer platform. Remember, that's going to be ad-supported when that rolls out next year. 3 years hence, it can choose to remove it from the Hulu platform if it should choose to do so. And, of course, in 5 years, when all of this is done, or 4.5 years, then that programming no longer would be on that platform, Carl. So an important transaction we've been waiting for, though more complex perhaps than some had anticipated. But it gives Comcast an option, essentially, to participate in what it believes will be the growing value of Hulu, to not necessarily have to fund it any longer, with the idea being that at the very least it will own 21%, but could own still as much as 33% with a floor valuation far higher than what they just valued it at when they did this Time Warner transaction.
Right, so Comcast gets some reassurances on the valuation, their own valuation, and Disney gets freedom to grow the business. And we knew splitting this baby was going to be complicated.
Yes,
right?
Yes. And I think the key, again, from the Disney point of view, is simply that they get the opportunity now to have full operational control. Remember Tom Rogers, when he sat with us a couple of weeks ago, somebody who knows the ins and outs of these kinds of contracts, said it could be difficult for them to do the things they want to do while Comcast had board seats, was an active potential economic member. While it still will own the economics, the governance now is all Disney's, and so that's the important thing they get for agreeing to a far higher number. We do have a quote from Steve Burke as well I think we want to share, which kind of puts some of this in perspective. Can we share that? Because actually I don't have it in front of me right now. There it is. He says it's a perfect outcome for us. We believe strongly in the direct-to-consumer space. Our content's a key driver of that ecosystem, and the extension of the content licensing agreement will generate significant cash flow, give them maximum flexibility, to do what they want for their own direct-to-consumer platform as we build that business. But significantly, he also goes on to point out it affirms the value of the stake and gives them a path to liquidity. So there you have it. Jim, we've been kind of waiting for this for some time. We finally got it, perhaps a bit more complex than we'd anticipated.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised that Comcast parent network is down. They just got a new valuation that sounds pretty good. But Disney up. David, my question is that Hulu's got a lot of customers. Disney Plus, not yet, but it's on the come. Would Bob Iger ever say, you know what, Disney Plus and Hulu are now part of the same package, and you can get a real deal if you take both? This is a Roku question, so to speak, because Hulu's a much more known brand than Disney Plus.
Jim, this allows them, as far as I'm aware, and having done a bit of reporting on it as well, to do that. Yeah, I mean, should they choose to. If they wanted to change the name conceivably, they could even do that. And so, yeah, full operational control means the ability to share across the board in terms of customer management, in terms of technology, in terms of sharing of data, and conceivably, to your point, offering discounts for those who subscribe to one, two, or actually all three of the services. So, yeah, Jim, that's my understanding.
Well, this is what the analysts most want, which is growing sub count. I mean, they got so disenchanted with Disney when ESPN went from 100 million down to 83 million. If you do a combined all-sub package, you're going to get the numbers going the other way, which is why I believe Disney stock is going up again this morning in the face of what may be in the end a down tape, because I don't trust this market at all.